Cable Bahamas has always been considered the innovator.
People can have confidence in Cable Bahamas as a mobile operator because of our past history. We've proven to the Bahamian community that we are in fact able to manage additional services as a telecommunications company.
Customers expect the best from Cable Bahamas.
The technology that we bring is revolutionary technology because we know that the Bahamian public, they deserve it, and Cable Bahamas is here to bring it to them.
We are ready. Turn us on.
The Ministry of Works reviewing the 14 Bamsi contracts. The DPM contradicts recent comments by the BEC chairman. Police uncover illegal weapons during a demolition exercise, plus a look at the lifestyles of the rich and famous. We've got those stories and a whole lot more tonight. I'm Vonique Toot and NB12 starts now. Topping news tonight, nearly 2 months after fire destroyed that uninsured male dorm at Bamsi, it is still unclear whether the other Bamsi contractors have insurance. The controversial project now falls under the portfolio of Minister of State for Works Arnold Forbes, who says officials are still reviewing the other 13 Bamsi contracts. Jasmine Brown reports.
Nearly 1 week after it was revealed that the male dormitory was not insured, Forbes revealed that the other Bamsi contracts are still under review. Just yesterday, Agriculture Minister V. Alfred Gray said he was disappointed to learn the building was never insured and called for all existing Bamsi projects to be reviewed. Well, today, Forbes said the Works Ministry is doing just that.
What we are doing is this. We are checking our records presently to ensure that every contract has insurance. Those contracts that have insurance that will expire very soon, we want to ensure, even insist that they have insurance, not up to if it's going to expire in April. We want to ensure that they have insurance until the project is finished. So we're going through that process presently, and I guarantee you that we will ensure that there are no individual on that site who has an expired insurance, or that their insurance will expire in the very near future.
When asked if he could confirm if the other Bamsi contracts were all in order and the other projects insured, Forbes admitted that still has yet to be determined, nearly 2 months after the male dorm was destroyed after the fire.
I will know when my checks are completed, but from all indications, we believe that there are some that are close to expiring. But again, I cannot speak with surety that there are any that are uninsured or close to expiring. Once I finish that process, I will know who is who, what is what. Insist that we have full insurance on every aspect of this construction site to ensure that there are no incidents like the incident that happened the other day.
Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis has come under heavy fire after he admitted that the male dormitory at Bamsi was never insured. Forbes insisted officials are determined not to repeat the mistakes they made in the past.
It is those individuals who are down there doing the grunt work that forget certain things, and that they are human beings. But I'm a hands-on person with whatever I do. I intend to ensure that from the most minute detail that will happen at that project, I want to ensure that I have a hands-on approach to it. I will not take anything for granted as we move forward. And I want to ensure, again, that the Bahamian people, including myself, I'm a part of you, ensure that we get a value for dollar in this project.
Meantime, outside Cabinet today, Gray said the project is running too far behind and he is uneasy about how long it's taking to be completed.
Yes, I am concerned about the length of time that the construction is taking, and any reasonable person would be. All of the reasons for the delay I might not know, but I know sufficiently to say that those buildings ought to have been completed by now.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Amid opposition claims that government handed out Bamsi contracts to political cronies, Agriculture Minister V. Alfred Gray defended the decision to award the mail dorm contract to Otley Hanna, who was also appointed to the Water and Sewerage Corporation Board.
But this has nothing to do with water and sewage. I don't understand what the conflict is.
Gray insisted that unless the contract was specifically awarded by Water and Sewerage, there is no conflict of interest.
If it was a contract that was being awarded by Water and Sewage to one of its board members, that would have been very clearly a conflict. But are you saying because he's a board member he shouldn't get a government contract? That makes no sense to me.
Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis has contradicted recent statements by BEC Chairman Leslie Miller, who said the massive blackout on New Providence and Paradise Island was due to negligence. Davis, who is also the Minister of Work, said in a statement today he is satisfied the island-wide power outages were not the result of negligence by employees, and that it is regrettable that any intimation to that effect was ever made. Well, F&M leader Dr. Hubert Minnis said during a news conference today, this is a clear example of the confused state the PLP government is in.
BEC is a mess, a PLP mess.
Days after a BEC meltdown plunged thousands of New Providence residents and businesses into darkness, the F&M leader charged that the BEC fiasco exposes a crisis of leadership within the visionless PLP government and caused the Bahamas to take a reputational hit among investors and visitors. Minnis's criticism came shortly after Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis revealed that Friday's island-wide power outage was the result of a cable fault, which resulted in damages to a number of cables and a fire in a cable trench. However, Minnis, who held a news conference outside BEC headquarters, says Davis is out of his depth.
The government does not have the foreseeable ability to generate sufficient electricity to meet existing demands and to meet the incoming demands from the Bama development at the same time. The overloaded demands upon BEC's antiquated and inefficient electrical distribution system are also very real and pressing concerns. It is all too clear that this visionless government has totally failed Bahamians.
Minnis questioned how Davis and BEC Chairman Leslie Miller are expected to run BEC when they can't even agree on who was at fault for the recent blackout. Miller says the outages were caused by negligence. However, Davis refuted those claims and called Miller's comments regrettable.
That points out the confused state this government in, and if we continue to be led by individuals who are confused themselves, can you imagine the damage they would do to this country? It is time that the PLP move on.
Minnis says the PLP government has failed to deliver on its lofty promises like reducing energy costs and providing a consistent power supply, adding government can't even get the BEC reform process right.
The government aired a proposal to split BEC into two parts, generation and transmission. Then the plan was to privatize electricity generation only. Later, the plan was not to privatize at all. Then the plan was announced not to divide the company into a separate generation and a separate transmission company. Now, the plan is merely to appoint a private sector management company. Will they ever get it right?
Miller said today he never blamed BEC workers for the island-wide outage, insisting he was simply trying to make the point that the blackout would not have occurred if proper maintenance had been carried out. Days after police officers attached to urban renewal demolished abandoned homes known to be criminal hangouts in the Fort Fincastle area, officers took their demolition exercise to Laird Street today. Kyle Joaquin has that story.
The house that sat through Laird Street for more than 5 decades is now no more. Nearby residents gathered outside to see for themselves the destruction of the building. A tractor crew tore down the structure Assistant Commissioner of Police Stephen Dean says was the hangout spot for vandals.
A criminal would like to be here. A criminal wouldn't want to set up every day in a graded community. He feels good here, that he can come here, smoke, he can do as illegal goods, sell drugs. We want to remove that opportunity, and I think that is the critical. If we remove the opportunity for crime, because crime there have to be an area where crime is committed, there have to be persons involved. If we can remove the opportunity from the crime, we believe that we are well on our way.
Dean says they don't just show up to these areas and tear down random buildings, but they get tips from people who are nearby.
People have reached a crossroad where they say enough is enough. And so anything to do to help the police, we are inundated with assistance, with calls from concerned members of the public who remain nameless, who tell us they want to see their corners look better. They want to see their community better. So they are not just sitting back and hiding. They're coming forward and telling us criminal A must move through the corner.
Now, according to ASP Roll, when officers conducted a search of this abandoned house just last week, they found a gun under the floor. According to Assistant Superintendent Anthony Roll, after his urban renewal team received information that an illegal firearm was located in the structure, they went and did a complete search. Buried underneath the wooden building, they found a gun and several rounds of ammunition.
Like Mr. Dan has alluded to, abandoned structures like this, it's evident that criminals will use these locations to either store firearms, to either store their drugs, and also we have had a number of complaints from the church.
Reverend Achilles Burrows of Friendship Baptist Church said he's glad to see the building gone, as oftentimes they've seen men hanging out in the building clearly up to no good. He said it even got to the point where his members were afraid to come to evening church.
It has become a nuisance to the extent that vandals hang out in there, and even to the extent that the neighborhood, they are uncomfortable, even as worshipers of the church. For example, even while they're worshiping on the inside, we would notice from time to time the vagrants, they inhabit and surround us, etc. So we're trying to be happy of this happening today for us.
The next area officers expect to move in is Englerston.
Now, officers say they expect to do more demolitions like this one within the coming weeks. Reporting from Laird Street for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
When NB12 returns, a look at the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Find out more after this break.